top of the hour, let's get you the war updates because, believe it or not, it seems that the Iranian delegations has now arrived in Pakistan for the Islamabad peace talks. Now, earlier it was being reported by Iranian media reports that the delegations may pull out last minute. And as far as their preconditions are concerned, it seems that on the Iranian side, they say that have been accepted. So a 70-member strong delegation from Iran that is led by their foreign minister, Arakchi. We are looking at the secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, secretary of the Defense Council. We're looking at the governor of the Central Bank of Iran. Several members of the parliament have now made their way to this red carpet welcome that was given to them on part of Pakistan side. Well, this is the least that Pakistan can actually do. Let's get connected with Srinjoy on this. Srinjoy, good morning. Last few hours, big developments have now taken place. The war on certain extent still continues. The pressure also still binds on. Warnings that have been issued from both sides, but at least one side of the delegation has reached Islamabad.
Yes, as long as people are in a room, sitting at a table and talking, it's better than fighting. And whatever else can be said, talking is better than fighting. And if this this conversation that will happen today and perhaps tomorrow actually leads to some positive movement, some forward movement, then it will go a long way towards ensuring some kind of ceasefire that is more permanent. These 11 days are very crucial, and whatever has to be done now, because tomorrow or today even is the most important day of the ceasefire. Here is the American delegation sitting with the Iranian delegation and of course the Israelis. And all these problems can be sorted out, or at least even if there are huge problems, you can begin to tackle them. Once people are face to face, it's so much easier to deal with issues than when you're far away, issuing statements which are very, very inflammatory and also causing concern to the other side. This is the one chance that these three countries have, the regions have, and the world has.
Well, because that seems to be the update, because inside pictures from the Jinnah Convention Center also seems to be coming in where these so-called peace talks will happen, because there seems to be a lot of grandstanding, Srinjoy, that is also happening on part of Pakistan's side. It is looking more of a Pakistan event rather than bringing the two sides on the table to talk.
First of all, Pakistan has begun this whole process on the wrong foot. Think of a minister saying the kind of things he did on Twitter. And that was so inflammatory. And that was so upsetting for the Israelis. Here is a Pakistani cabinet minister speaking against Israel, speaking against Jews, European Jews particularly, and calling them the worst possible things, including the word cancerous. When you're referring to a host as a cancerous person or part of the cancerous people, then what does it say about yourself? Thankfully, that tweet was deleted. And talks can begin properly today. But the damage was done now,
Srinjoy. The damage was done, and a significant damage, because though Israel and Pakistan have no relations, but that immediately prompted on part of the Israeli side to condemn what they have been calling as these outrageous comments from a defense minister of Pakistan. Coming back to those pictures there, we are bringing you the inside pictures that are now coming in. This is being called the Jinnah Convention Center in Islamabad, where these peace talks are expected to happen. And now what is being said? When it comes to these peace talks, because this is a 70-member strong delegation on part of Iran's side, which has now reached Islamabad, multiple last-minute changes there. If it would have flopped, because that seems certain as far as for Pakistan's way is concerned, already having declared a two-day holiday, and Pakistan seems to be positioning itself as a neutral or a mediator or a peace broker. Well, that itself is outrageous. Meantime, let's quickly describe when it comes to the pictures that have been coming in from inside. This is in Islamabad because being Pakistan, there are always security concerns. And when we are looking at these biggest delegation from the Iranian side, and the US one is expected to arrive, there you can see in the pictures there, the field marshal seems to be more prominent and the Pakistani side of the establishment or the government there, because he seems to be the one who is welcoming the Iranian side. So who exactly is representing Pakistan here? Well, the pictures will tell you clearly. This seems to be inside the convention center called the Jinnah Convention Center that seems to have been prepared. And imagine the amount of money that Pakistan would have to spend on, such kind of talks and meetings when it is already under heavy debt. Now, this seems to be the Jinnah Convention Center inside. The pictures that have been coming in, you can see the chairs and the tables that have been laid, and big, standees or posters that have been put up of Islamabad peace talks. That seems to be a grandstanding position that Pakistan currently now seems to be finding itself in. The irony, of course, a terror state, a rogue state, projecting itself as a peace state. However, this is significant as far as when it comes to the Iranian delegation having reached Islamabad to a red carpet welcome. Remains to be seen how big would be a delegation that J.D. Vance would be getting, because J.D. Vance is the vice president who is now leading the delegation from the United States of America. Steve Witkoff is also going to accompany him. So the pictures that are now coming in from inside, because they are just hours away of what could be the beginning of the peace talks that could actually redefine the world order and also determine regional and global stability. Because in hours from now, the American delegation is also expected to meet the Iranian side in Pakistan, where the truce talks are expected nearly after 40 days of war. Now the talks that are expected to begin in Islamabad later today, and President Trump and Mojtaba Khamenei have now sent their emissaries to negotiate the long-lasting deal. Because what are the delegations now, what we are looking at? On part of the representation that is being done from the US side, as I said, J.D. Vance is leading the US delegation along with Steve Witkoff. He has been part of multiple negotiations when it comes to conflicts. Jared Kushner is also being part of this delegation, a senior advisor. On part of Iran, Foreign Minister Rakchi and Mohammad Ghalibaf, who is the Parliament Speaker, are one of the 70 strong members there of the Iranian delegation that have arrived in Islamabad. So that seems to be the pictures there that are now coming in. Of course, remains to be seen, because J.D. Vance, before the reaction that came in from the Vice President of the United States, had said clearly that Lebanon was never part of the deal. Now Iran says that one of its preconditions on arriving before Pakistan peace talks was that Lebanon be made part of this peace talks, and then only they will hold these talks in Islamabad. Now they say that they have been agreed to. However, there is still no confirmation that is coming from the US side. So let's take this forward. Major General G.G. Dwivedi is joining us here on the broadcast. Good morning to you. We have Sierra Claire, foreign policy analyst, also joining us. Sierra, good evening to you, rather. So in the meantime, let's talk about Dwivedi, sir. I mean, look at the irony. The pictures that have been coming in from Islamabad, it looks more like a Pakistan event rather than the peace talks that it seems to boast about, sir. It was almost a flop. Remains to be seen what the US side brings into it.
Well, Amita, good morning, and thanks for having me on the show. Well, before I come to Pakistan per se, I'd like to make one or two important observations. You know, the irony of war is that it moves between two terminals. One is the battlefield where the intense bloodshed is there, and secondly, of course, on the negotiation table. This is where the war basically moves between two terminals, and then there's a midway when it gets into a state of stalemate, no or no peace. So currently now, the war is definitely moved from the battlefield onto the negotiation table, and Jinnah Convention Center is the venue. The second point is that ceasefires are always very fragile. And secondly, there's a lot of haziness on the agenda, because there's a trust, mistrust, and distrust. And my own experience of ceasefire both in Bangladesh and also on the LOC, that this is a very, very crucial phase. But Amit, the good thing is that two sides are coming on the negotiation table. Let's not be very, I would say, what I can say is that critical as to what the venue is, who is conducting the talks. But the more important talks are taking place. And in this,
no,
yes,
but this is the kind of desperation, sir, that I mentioned from Pakistan's side that seems to be quite evident. I mean, trying to play the role of a peacemaker where it is an established fact that it is a terror state in itself. I believe we have Irfan also joining in. He's a Pakistan journalist connected with us live from Islamabad. Irfan, can you hear me? इरफान, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है? We're just trying to reconnect that line. इरफान, क्या आप मुझे सुन पा रहे? I'm just going to try again. इरफान, can you hear me? इरफान, क्या आप मुझे सुन पा रहे? मेरी आवाज आ रही है? I believe he's unable to hear me, but we'll just fix that network with him because he's reporting from Islamabad, and we'll give him a point of view on what Pakistan has to say on it, on its role that seems to be playing. Mayank and Shinjoy also continue to be with us, but Sierra, before even these talks could actually begin, President Trump has issued another warning to Iran because he says if the talks failed, if the negotiations don't happen, then the US will intensify its strikes.
Yeah, well, absolutely. President Trump did issue several statements today and, reiterating to Iran because of everything that we're seeing come out in the media. They're making demands back about Lebanon again. They're making demands about reparations, things that have already been agreed upon that they will not be discussed in these peace talks. So President Trump was just responding to what was coming out from the Iranian regime. And we don't know, again, the Iranian regime has a lot of communication issues right now. They're in a bit of a disarray. So we don't know exactly who's putting out those statements and whether it's reflective of the people who are at the peace talks. So President Trump is, that's why he's giving them a warning, and we're going to go ahead with the peace talks and see if they are in fact serious.
No, but I mean, would that actually come from their seriousness to the situation with the 70-member strong delegation that they have arrived with in Islamabad, right from their parliament members to even the governor of their central bank, to even, when it comes to top leaders of their administration, I believe the supreme leader, apart from him, most of the leaders have now come to Islamabad. So it's a 70-member strong delegation, Sierra.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're ready to negotiate on the points that need to be discussed, the nuclear issue and opening the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump also said we can open that very quickly as well. So these are the things that, need to be addressed by the Iranian regime. No more delay.
Part of it, because even before holding these talks in Islamabad, Iran certainly had set certain preconditions, which now it says that has been met. However, no confirmation has come in from the US side. Irfan, kya aap mujhe sun pa rahe? I'm just going to try reconnect with the journalist reporting from Islamabad. Irfan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Wonderful. Irfan, thank you very much for joining in. Can you tell us exactly what's happening there? We believe that the peace talks are happening in Islamabad at the Jinnah Convention Center.
Jinnah Convention Center, actually, Jinnah Convention Center is just a place where international journalists would be monitoring the talks, and government has established a good place. They have provided every facility, to monitor everything, what is happening in Islamabad. Otherwise, the talks would be taking place in Foreign Office or some other places, but government has not disclosed the place yet. Last night, Iranian delegation reached at middle of the night and...
apologies, viewers, the line is not very clear. I'm also unable to make out what Irfan has been saying. Irfan, we're just going to re-establish that network with you because we're not very clear as far as what you want to tell us and what you also want to show us around. But a significant amount of security that has been deployed, already a 2-day off and a holiday, that is something that has been announced by the Pakistani administration there. But there seems to be a lot of damage that is also being done post when it comes to the deletion of this post by the Pakistani defense minister, who seems to be calling out to the Israeli side. So the very neutrality factor of Pakistan is something that is now being questioned and has been also called outrageous. Let's in the meantime also talk about when it comes to these talks that are expected to happen in Islamabad, there seems to be a big claim that has been made by Iran. Amid the peace talks, as far as Iran is now of the opinion that the preconditions that they are set, mind you, that includes Lebanon, to stop the strikes on Lebanon, well, according to the Iranian side, these preconditions has been accepted, and on that very condition, they agreed to come to Islamabad. Now, this is on part of the Iranian embassy that, however, seems to be sharing this information, Srinjoy. However, there is no confirmation coming in from the U.S. side, because preconditions, including Lebanon, well, U.S. said that Lebanon was never a part of this truce.
Well, first of all, yes, all these things can actually be discussed when all three sides are here. The Americans are expected, and as you rightly said, headed by the Vice President himself and important other functionaries. The Israelis are expected. So once they are here, once they are all at the convention center, chances are that all these issues can be worked out. As Kennedy famously said, let us not fear to negotiate. Let us not negotiate without fear. Now, that, of course, was said during the Cold War. But more importantly, this is a three-sided event. That was just two sides. Here we are looking at the pieces of the puzzle. In this case, are much more intricate. Because you have Iran, America,
and
Israel, you have
right
the
in
Gulf
our neighborhood as far as when it comes to these peace talks are concerned, because if we don't go back, to Kennedy as much, we talk about what the Prime Minister and India has been stating right from the start, that when it comes to dialogue and diplomacy and de-escalation, well, that is the only way forward as far as any conflict is concerned. We're just going to head into a very short break, requesting our guests to continue to be with us. Back with the live coverage.